Be recording. And if you have any question, you just fire, you can raise up your hand, or there's a place for you to raise up your hand and you can pause, you can just stop me. This chapter is one of my favorite chapter in ComptiaA Plus because it has to do with content from cybersecurity. You know, in A Plus, what they did basically, they put hardware, they put software, they put networking, they put security, they put troubleshooting, then customer care. It's only Kevin that doesn't have the PowerPoint on customer care. I will send it to him today. That is all about A+. So some organization, when they hire you, it is just aspect of that ability to relate with customer. That is just the need from you. They will just train you and add their own on top. You are good to go. Some, they may, from the basic knowledge of security, they know you can do some basic security stuff. You are going to see some of the things we are going to do as we proceed in this chapter. They will just build on top of it and they are good to go. So that is why A+ is very, very popular. The content is loaded. And if you are able to master most of the stuff in A+, you can do a lot for yourself and when you get into the field. Okay, so security. When we talk about security, in what context we are going to see today? So we're going to be talking about security threats. One of my videos that I have that I've listened to, because I don't just come and teach about security. I have different guys that I also listen to just to hear their own, the way they teach some things, explain some things, explain some concepts and all of that. The guy called it he called this part I want to talk about, know your enemy. Know your enemy. So here in the curriculum here, they put it as security threats. What are the security threats we have? There are plenty, and we need to know them one after the other. So I'm going to be taking my time, step by step, to talk about this. The first thing we want to talk about in this class or on this slide is to talk about malware. Anytime you hear malware, what comes to your mind? Malware is simply malicious software. Malicious software. That's how they coined that thing. So when you talk about malware, most people know it as virus. They don't even call it malware. But in today's class, we are going to be dissecting this thing. So you see different aspects of malware. So you don't just call all of the things that disturbing your computer virus. So what is malware? Malware simply means malicious software. So what do you mean by malicious software? Anything that can cause trouble for your computer is malware. And it can come in any form. And you can get it from different areas or through different medium. So let's fire home. There are many types of threats created to disrupt, take note, computers and networks. The greatest and the most common threat for computers and the data contained in them is malware. So what is this malware? We're coming. Malware is typically installed on a computer, take note, without the user's knowledge. Take note of this. This is why one of the classes I taught them, Sandra, if something is going to be installed without my knowledge, that means I am using my admin accounts. So in order for you to secure your computer, do not use admin account. Create another standard account and be using the standard account. What I mean by standard account, one of the labs I'm going to give to you would show you how to create a standard account. Standard account is an account that is just like you want to give it to a guest. It's not a guest actually. It's like an account that cannot be used to install anything on that computer. And guess what? If you are using a standard account and a malware try to install on your system without your consent or without your knowledge, it's not going to work. In fact, that video I spoke about, I forgot that guy's name. It's one of my mentors I follow in cybersecurity. He said the research has shown that people that take away admin rights from themselves and use standard account, how did they put it now? The possibility, or let me put it like the possibility of them not getting virus is 90%. Is it 90 or 95%? As in the level of their security for that system will just go very high because you are not using admin accounts. Why? Because most of the malware have to install, and they install without your consent. Most malware have to install, and they install without your consent. So how do you deal with malware? And you're going to see them in their different variations. Do not use admin account. Create a standard account on your system and begin to use a standard account. If for any reason you need to install something on that system, you right click and say run as admin. Then it will ask you for your password. Then you can now install that thing on your system. That's how we take care of that. I think I remember the way he put it now. He said 90% of the malware out there will be taken care of if you don't use admin account. 90% of the malware out there will be taken care of. As in, you will not have to give yourself a headache if you do not use admin account. Once a host is infected, the malware will change the computer's configuration. That's what one things malware can do on your system. Delete files or corrupt hard drives. Collect information stored on the computer without the user's consent. Look at that again. It has to be installed first. Open extra windows on the computers or redirect the browser. So once you get malware, most people call it virus, but by the end of this class today, you will know whether you are infected with virus or worm or Trojan horse or another form of malware. You'll be able to differentiate between all of these things. But I'm going to take my time. This is a chapter that is very important to me. So how do we get this malware? Sources of malware. How? One of the ways you can get malware, user visiting infected website. If you visit a website that is infected, you can get malware from there. Now the question is, how do you know that a website has been infected? Because I'm not talking of you going to bad website like porn site or whatever. If, for instance, now, what's the name of this airway in the UK? Kelvin, you should know the British Airway. There was a time British Airway website was compromised. I don't know if you heard about it. And people's details, people that have been flying the British Airway, their details, credit card details, names, everything were vested by hackers. If you should go to that British Airways website at that period when that website was infected, you are going to come down with malware. Because those guys don't just infect websites. They infect websites to access the details of the website, and they also infect websites so that anybody that come across the website or come to visit the website, you also go back with a gift. You can Google that. Now, some of the things we are going to be doing when we start cyber security, I was going to some of the labs some days ago, is research. I'll give you assignment. So attack happens so time. Go and research it. They will come. What and in that manner they are going to ask you some questions. How were they attacked? What was the medium of attack? What kind of mistake were the people made? All those kind of stuff. So like this one I mentioned now, you can go and research it. British Airway got attacked, I think like a year or 2 years ago. And they have vested people's credit card details on their website. So that became an infected website. And that is why I was telling my students in the university today, because this chapter, I happen to be teaching them this same chapter. This particular chapter I'm teaching you guys. I told them, I said, one of the things I want to teach them to be able to do for themselves is to become bounty hunters. Bounty hunters, you can go and just talk like with 2, 3, 4, 5 different organizations and help them to secure their website. How? All you need to do is to run your scan against their website, help them discover all their vulnerabilities before the bad guys get there, and you tell them these are the things you need to work on to fix on your website, and they pay you for that. Because so many websites out there are vulnerable. Most of the programmers do not really think about security. They just say the website is up and running. That's it. You gotta be careful. And I'll talk more about how to protect yourself. So another way for you to get malware, user has outdated virus. Antivirus, sorry. Outdated antivirus. If you don't have updated antivirus on your system, you can get malware. But that's not a big deal for Windows 10 and Windows 11. And I'm going to show you why. Web browser not patch for new vulnerability. This is serious. If you use, some people prefer to use Chrome. I'm going to stay longer here than expected. Some people prefer to use Firefox. Some prefer to use, I know people don't like Edge. I don't like Edge. But there are other browsers out there that are very good and better than Chrome and Firefox. So if, for instance, you are using Chrome and there is an update released for that Chrome and you refuse to update, you are vulnerable. Now, when we talk about updates for Windows operating system is just to fix vulnerabilities in the operating system. Sandra and Elena will relate to this better. Kevin, I'm saying this because of, we are about to start OS next week, this new week now. So when we talk about update, most people just say, oh, Windows update, Windows update, Windows update. We are running update. I'm doing update. The main reason why you are doing update is just to fix vulnerability in the operating system. You mean there are vulnerabilities in the operating system? Yes. There is no software out there anywhere in the world that does not have vulnerability. It's just that it has not been discovered yet. And when we say softwares have vulnerability, it's because there are so many softwares out there, especially operating system. The line of codes that they use in preparing that operating system or bringing up that operating system in millions of codes, millions of lines of codes were written to get Windows 10, to get Windows 11. So there is no how they will not make mistake in some of the code. So every time you hear us talking about update is just to fix vulnerability. But what if your Windows is up to date, but the browser you are using on that Windows is not up to date or is not updated? You are still going to be vulnerable. And I'm going to show you some of these things. If you have questions, there is a place to raise up your hand. You people should see it. You can just click it, and I will see it and give you the floor. Another way for you to get malware, downloading a free program. We in Africa, we like free things. We don't even the one that is not free, we're going to look for what we call crack. We'll look for crack. And I'm going to talk about crack as we proceed in this particular class. Crack just create a backdoor for you. For instance, one of my brothers sent me or called me from Abuja last week that he saw an advert. Somebody was marketing Office 365 and said it is for life. He has Office 365, but he pays subscription yearly. So he wants me to help him verify if that thing is genuine. So I called him. I say, bros, anytime you hear about Office 365 is not for life. They pay yearly. The owner of Office 365 says you must pay every year. But if some people are coming up to tell you that it is for life, they use what we call crack. And what is crack? I just gave him in a layman's language that they can understand. It's just to remove the restriction placed on the Office 365 so that you can use it. But what the crack does, apart from removing the limitation on restriction, is to also create a backdoor into your computer. A backdoor is like you in your house, you get two doors, front door, back door. And then somebody now created the third door and you are not aware of this. So anytime the person wants to come in, the person just needs to use his own key to come in through that door. That is what crack does for us. So you can get virus through or malware through free program. So any free program out there, you've got to be very, 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 very careful. And I was shocked when I heard that even some antiviruses, how they have are actually viruses, not antivirus. People buy them. In the long run, they realize that the system is infected and you pay, not that they want for free. So you can get malware from them. If you open unsolicited email, that's another terrible means of getting malware. You got an email, it has an attachment, you click that attachment, bam, the malware enters your system. Exchange of file on file sharing site. You must probably have heard about torrent. If you've not heard about torrent, torrent is a file sharing application. Meaning what? I have some things on my system. I want to be able to share with people all around the world. They will also download torrent on their system and search for those things that are on my system. And with the help of that software, they will locate those things that are on my system and they will be able to pull those things down. That also you can get virus on torrents. And you know the irony of this torrenting, I'm going to show you guys. I just stopped one of the download I was doing using torrents some days ago. I showed my students in university. I said, don't, you know, sometimes the people that teach this law, and then they break the law. Kelvin, did they hear me? They teach the law, but we are breaking the law because to get the material that I was actually looking for, it's expensive. I was looking for one material on ethical hacking. And then it's expensive, so I have to use torrent to search for who has it all somewhere in the world, and then torrent pulled it down for me. And then I started downloading the material. So when I go to this place and I was teaching my students, I now went and showed them the torrent software. And I'm going to show you guys the software too. So it's not safe. Someone like me, now, I know it's not safe. I've just been fortunate all this while that I've used torrents. My system has not been infected. Not that anytime you use torrent, you'll be infected immediately. The day somebody want to send virus to your system through that thing, you're going to get infected. So you can get malware from that. Computer infected by another infected host. This usually happens when computers are infected on the network. So one computer that has virus on the network can spread it. Others can pick it up from there. That usually happens. That's why there's a way we segment the network. If I talk about segmentation now, you people understand we isolate the network. You people that have done my lab on segmentation using router to connect two different LANs together and so on and so forth, so you understand what I'm talking about. All of you have done that anyway. When you opening attachment, send in, take notes, instant messenger, social media site. For instance, now if I can push a virus to you through your WhatsApp, the moment you click it like this, your phone is infected. And if you download that thing onto your system is infected. Let me give you an example. The owner of Amazon, Jeff Bezos, he got his iPhone hacked through instant messenger. I don't know which one. There was a time he got his phone hacked. That was how he lost his wife. Because the baby was dating, the secret leaked because they harvested some things from his phone. You can also Google that. And then they exposed him. The wife got to know about him. The wife left him. That was how they got divorced. Because they hacked his phone through social media. In fact, some people said, it was just, I don't know if it's true, that it's from Saudi Arabia that they did that thing to him because Saudi went to Israel to buy equipment that can hack into anybody's phone in the world. Not many countries have that particular equipment. Saudi bought it from Israel. So they became the only suspect. And they said the guy, the prince, happened to be Jeff's friend. So you can as well get virus from any social media or instant messenger. Anything like Yahoo Messenger or WhatsApp, Instagram, you can get virus from any of this or malware. Let me restrict myself to malware because we're going to see different variation of malware as we proceed. So when I say malware, it could be virus, it could be worm, it could be Trojan horse, it could be hardware, it could be spyware, and we're going to see the difference between all of these things, hopefully before the end of today's class. Now look at another one here. You can get malware when you insert a USB stick that you find in a public area. You can get malware from that. People copy something and then they bring to your system. You can transfer virus from there. Now, bad guys that really want to invest, they want to enter some organization, they can drop flash drive near the environment, that is near the office environment of the organization. Somebody will pick it up and go and plug it in the office. Bam, they are in. And that is why some organization, what they do from the BIOS or UEFI, they disable their USB completely. Some companies, some organizations even go to the extent of blocking that thing with wax. That is the USB. They don't want to see anything USB in the organization. If you go and read about this attack, I think you're going to do that in cybersecurity, Stuxnet. That was how Israel took Iran backward on their nuclear project. Many years. They took them backward many years by using a virus called Stuxnet. That is Stuxnet or Stuxnet, something like that. How did they get there? Flash drive. So you need to be aware of this. So these are different means we can get malware. We're now going to proceed and begin to see different variations of malware. Because when we say malware, what ordinary people know out there, they call everything virus. No, they have different behaviors. This is, okay, let me ask a question. So this is that about this particular slide. It's a long journey, but we are going to get to our destination. Are we good? Any question on this?
No, no question.
Sandra?
I'm good.
Eniola? Is Eniola still there? Okay. I believe she is there. So, under malware, let's talk about viruses and Trojan horse. The first and the most common type of computer malware is virus. That is what most people know out there. But there's another one called Trojan horse, and there's another one called worm. We're going to see, and they are different. Let's check out virus first. Viruses require human action to propagate. Take note. Viruses requires human action to propagate and infect other computers. So human being must be involved before virus can activate. You must click something. That's why they will do their best to trick you to click something. Click a link, go to a website, do this, you must get involved. A virus hides by attaching itself to computer code, software, or document on the computer. When open, take note, when open, how will it open? Are you open the document now? The virus executes and infects the computer. When you open a document, the virus will execute and infect the computer. The bad guys most of the time hide some of these things in documents that you don't even think the way they can. For instance, one of the labs we're going to do during this our cyber security, I can send a picture to Kevin, and inside that picture I'm hiding a document. If Sandra should see that thing on his laptop, she would think it's only a picture. But inside that picture is a document. The same way they hide virus inside document for us. Well, that's one of the labs we are going to do. These terrorists, Al Qaeda also, they were using this strategy for a very long time before the FBI got to know about it. The FBI just felt like, this doesn't make sense. Why are these guys always exchanging pictures? I think they kept on using the same picture or almost the same type of picture again and again and again and again and again. They were monitoring their network, what goes out, what comes in. Nothing serious, only pictures, only pictures, only pictures. Then somebody said, no, something is wrong, something is not right here. Then they grab the picture, go dissect the picture well. Then they discovered they were embedding the message in the picture. Same thing can be done to a virus. But take note, one major thing with virus is this: it needs human action. You must click something before it can execute. And this is what most people know. And virus is a form of malware, because anything that will disrupt the operation of computer or the network, you can refer to them as malware. Criminal or cyber criminal also use Trojan horses to compromise hosts. What is Trojan horse? A Trojan horse is a program, take note, that looks useful but carries malicious code. Trojan horses are often provided with free online programs such as computer games. So if you want games online now, you want to download free games, they will dash you the game, but as you are coming down with the game, you're also coming down with what they call Trojan horse. They took this name from this story of Troas. Is it Troas they call it also? That city, great city that the enemy couldn't attack. But then they now came up with a strategy to gift the city a horse. And they were stupid to collect the horse from them. But inside the horse were military, were soldiers. So they brought the horse into their city. In the middle of the night, the soldiers came out of the horse and destroyed the whole city. True life story. You can Google it. The story of Troas. That's why they got Trojan horse. So sometimes you go and get some things on the night. You think they are good stuff. They are going to, okay, for instance, if I go and get a game now, the game go to play. But as the game is playing, I have also carried something alongside that does not need me to click any other thing before it can start working. So the way Trojan horse comes to the system is a bit different from the way virus comes to the system. Because virus, you must click down, you must execute. Virus must install, but Trojan horse doesn't really need to install. It depends on how it is programmed. And they always come with free programs, free online programs, mostly. People get this. Look at, we are going to continue the journey. Other types of malware, we have hardware. You should be used to it. If your computer has ever been infected, it displays unsolicited advertising using pop-up web browser and Windows. You will just see advert, 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 or they redirect you to a different website. You are no longer in control of that system. It's a form of malware, and that is called, that is called hardware. It's like advertising malware, a malware that advertises. Look at this guy here. This one is dangerous. I call this one digital kidnapping. We are used to kidnapping in Nigeria now. This is digital kidnapping. What does it do? Ransomware, it is terribly dangerous. And I'll tell you why. It typically denies a user access to their files by encrypting the files and then displaying a message demanding a ransom before they can give you the key to decrypt. You know, some people are very funny. They feel they don't have anything important on their computer that the hackers or the bad guy can steal. They feel like, what's there on my system for the bad guys to steal? They are of no use to them. But the guys now know that you have things that are of no use to them, but they are of use to you. They are not important to them, but they are important to you, so they encrypt those things for you. And in encrypting those things for you, they tell you to pay ransom. Most of the time, it comes with in Bitcoin, cryptocurrency. They tell you to pay a ransom before they can give you the key to decrypt. You pay ransom, they give you key. Most of the time, you don't get all the files back. So, what is the solution to ransomware? I'm going to also teach you. Main solution to ransomware is backup. Full backup of all the things on your system. Regular backup, consistent backup. Once you get that one, if your system happen to be infected with ransomware, you just format the system, and then you go and bring in your backup and you are good to go. Now, what makes this particular software dangerous, or this particular malware dangerous, because it does not even need an admin right to install anything. Even as a guest, ransomware can encrypt everything on the system. That's why ransomware is terrible. That's why ransomware is dangerous. As a guest account, standard account, admin account, ransomware doesn't have a problem. It can encrypt the files on your system. One guy in Lagos had the problem with his system recently. Everything was encrypted, and it was doing a job for Lagos state government. So one of my cybersecurity team got in touch with me. So, and I didn't really know what to do to help him to recover those things. So I talked to one of my students that did his master in cybersecurity in Russia. The guy gave me an idea of how to do it and all of that. So I was trying to see how I can do it. Of course, not free, and then use that as to get experience, and then also charge the guy before we can do it. But I just discovered that 1 week passed, the guy no talk. 2 weeks passed, no talk. I just forgot about the guy. I think like a month, that was when they started looking for me again. I said I don't have their time because it involves a lot of stuff to be done. I need to know the type of ransomware. I didn't even know there are different types of ransomware. It was from that my student I got to know. He asked me what type of ransomware. I said I don't know. Now, okay, have I seen the file that were encrypted? I said no. He said I should give me some copies of the files that were encrypted. So from the copy of the files that were encrypted, it gave me a website where I can see, okay, this is the type of ransomware. And yeah, the keys have already been uploaded by some good guys and stuff like that. And we can try some keys and all of that, you know. We learn every day in this field. So ransomware is dangerous. So if you are careless, you don't do backup things on your system, you get infected with this, you're going to lose a lot. You got to be careful. Rootkits. Rootkits. This is another dangerous malware. They are difficult to detect, Look at what they are used for. They are used by cyber criminals to get admin level access to a computer. So when they launch a rootkit attack on a computer and is successful, whoever launched that attack becomes the admin. So the computer is fully possessed by a stranger. And whatever the person wants to do, you are no longer in control. The only way out is just to go and format. I don't even know if you are going to have access to your BIOS. Is to go and format that system. And all of these things, we are going to see how you can protect yourself. We also have spyware. Spyware is similar to hardware, but look, watch out. It's used to gather information about the user and send it back to cyber criminals. And unfortunately, one of the things they do with spyware is they can use keylogger. If the keylogger is installed on your laptop, everything you type, everything you punch, they have a copy. Imagine you went to your bank website, you punch in your username, you punch in your password, they have a copy of it. They also use your camera. People are not aware that the camera, the webcam that came with this system nowadays can be used to spy on you. You will be thinking the light on the camera will come up. The light won't come up, but yet your camera is on. That is why nowadays the systems that are coming nowadays, they come with a sheet. You can close the sheet of that camera while you are still on the system. Because if the bad guys happen to take over your system, they can power your camera without the light and they are watching you. This is another dangerous guy here. Let me put it this way. Viruses, worms, Trojan horse, and then rootkit. They seem to be in the world of their home. These four guys here, they seem to be in the world of their home. These ones are popular, and you're going to see us talking about them again when we enter cybersecurity. So what this worm will do, what will the worm do to your system? Worms are self-replicating programs. Take note that propagate automatically without users' action. How do they come into your system? You don't need to go to bad website. You don't need to click anything bad. They only exploit vulnerabilities in software on your system. I tell my students this, and I need to tell you guys this. If you have a computer, let's say you're running Windows 11, your Windows 11 alone, you are going to be battling with it to make sure that it's up to date. Then on top of that Windows 11, you keep on installing other softwares that you think you need. And let me submit to you, every single software you install on your system, you must make sure they are up to date. If they are not up to date, you probably will be vulnerable. The more software you have on your system, the more you are going to have to work hard or harder. Let me tell you the way softwares are on the system. Softwares are just like doors. You close the door today, the enemy are trying to open it. So if I have a computer that has just two softwares, only two that are just needed, the owner will keep on battling with updating those two software and making sure that those doors are closed permanently, that the bad guys will not use any of those software to access that system. Now you compare that to somebody that has 10 different softwares, because people have formed the habit of just installing just everything. Oh, what is this software for? I beg, install for me. What is this software for? I beg, install for me. What is this software? I beg, install for me. The more of these things you have on your system, the more you are vulnerable. Because the moment you don't need all this software to be vulnerable, all you need to be vulnerable is just one software. Only one is more than enough for you. And once the bad guys happen to come in and they notice that, okay, this guy has 20 different applications. I'm talking of softwares now, like maybe games, maybe other stuff, anything you use personally. And then they notice that one of those applications, just one, has vulnerability. Vulnerabilities are just weaknesses in software that they can exploit, they can take advantage of. to attack you. They will just take advantage of that and enter into that system, and that's it. And that is why people say this. Sometimes I mix up this. They said the strongest chain is as weak as its weakest link. It does not matter how the chain is strong. Just go and look for the weak link. Where there is a weak link, a weak connection there. That's it. That's all that is needed. So we're going to come to a level during this training in cybersecurity where we're going to say, okay, I'm not sure whether my software are up to date. What else can I do to decide or to keep myself safe? Then we're going to be talking of application whitelisting, application blacklisting. You can decide and tell your computer, even though I have 10 softwares, now only 2, I won't make it a run for now. If I need others, I'll come and add them later. With that, even if the bad guy discovered vulnerability in any of the software, because you have locked down those softwares on your system, they cannot run on your system. And as long as those software cannot run on your system, you are covered, you are secure. We're also going to come to that. So worms just take advantage of vulnerabilities in software. So the take home from this particular statement here, or this issue of worm is, any software you don't need, do not install it. Especially phones. People abuse softwares on phone. They install all kinds of softwares on phone. Any softwares you don't need, do not install it. And if you are going to install it, you have to take up responsibility to make sure that they are up to date. They are not going to be used to access your phone, your tablet, or your laptop. Because when we talk about the computers, most of the time our mind goes to regular laptop or desktop. No, when I mention computer, you all of you noticed that when I started the training of A+, I had a slide I displayed a slide that has tablet, phone, and then computer. All of this is a computer. The same concept we're learning here. This concept is also applicable to phones, and you need to be aware of that. So worm is also a type of malware. So most of the time as we proceed, because we are cybersecurity gurus to be, we're going to go beyond just regular virus, worm, and Trojan horse. That's why we're going to be talking about other types of malware, like rootkit, spyware, hardware, and so on and so forth. I think there are others that were not mentioned here. We are going to see them in cybersecurity class. Okay, so that is just a summary about that part. Are we good? Taking just 3 slides and I spent almost 1 hour. Sandra, are we good? Hello?
Yeah, we're fine. Sorry. Yes, we're fine.
Calvin, are you good?
Yeah.
Okay. Eniola, you remember our class. So another way for you to tell me you are good, you can put thumbs up. You can just click that thumbs up there. Or say market they move. Kevin knows about market they move. Sandra doesn't know about market they move. I don't think I've given them that gist before. Thank you, Eniola. It's good to have you in this class again. Yeah, so we're good. So how do we prevent malware? Preventing malware. How? There are different ways to prevent malware. Different steps. At this level, we want to learn how to prevent malware from entering our system. Any type of malware, either virus, worms, or whatever. So we're going to be talking briefly about anti-malware programs. It is important that you protect computers. Take note. And mobile devices using reputable antivirus software. We cannot overemphasize this. This is very important. People go for, there's this software called Avast. I remember Avast. It's free. How do you go for free antivirus? I don't get it. What kind of virus would that thing catch for you? It's antivirus. You say it's free. What kind of virus will it? And the thing is so noisy. Any small time you say, well, it will raise alarm. A virus is detected. A virus is detected. Even when there are legitimate software, it will call it a virus. What do you expect when it is free? So In order for you to protect your computers and mobile devices, use reputable antivirus software. When we get to cybersecurity, we are going to be doing some of these stuff there. Some of the guys that are at the top when it comes to antivirus, Norton is one of them. Kaspersky is one of them. Now, I used to respect Kaspersky until Israel discovered that Russia was using Kaspersky to spy on people, on companies. You know, Kaspersky is from Russia. Israel was the one that discovered that. And this is supposed to be an antivirus. How do you explain that? This Kaspersky is very tough. But when it comes to spying on people, they created a backdoor for Russian government. Whether it is the knowingly or unknowingly, I don't know. And the world did not know. It took Israel to catch them and expose them. And this is supposed to be an antivirus. So we're coming. And sometimes when they are spying on you, if you know, say, you don't have anything to hide, you don't have problem. But you know, when they do this spy, they do it for organizations, companies to steal intellectual properties and stuff like that. And that is what Chinese do that too. Russia has not been renowned for doing that with software, but Chinese company have been renowned over the years. That's why people are fighting Huawei. Nobody's trusting Huawei. They are seeing Huawei as China's company, Chinese company, just coming to come and spy on the world. All over 5G. Sorry? You don't
What's
know
Huawei?
Huawei? Oh,
No.
Huawei is a company from China now. It's a nice, it's a like they came out with 5G first now, before America got 5G. They have 5G solution, networking equipment, and all of that. They are just like Cisco. You know about Cisco. Huawei like, there's like Cisco, but Huawei is from China. So you can
Okay.
Google it after the class. They came out with 5G solution. Canada, UK, Germany, almost all the European countries were going to install their 5G solution before Trump started fighting them seriously. That, you know, he fought them to stand still, and before you know it, the rest of the world started knocking them off. Yeah, even in the UK, I heard that, I don't know if it's true, any surveillance camera that is from China, there's this notorious one, I forgot the name of that camera, they're knocking them off because you can't trust those Chinese people. You can't. If Kaspersky can be used to spy on people, and it's supposed to be, it's like police in Nigeria, supposed to be protecting people. They don't want kidnapping people. I read a story last week. Police kidnapped one guy and he paid them $3,000 before they released him. Police in Nigeria. And they caught them. That is the same thing Kaspersky was doing to people. And you pay. So we're going to do research as we proceed into cybersecurity on that. Today, antivirus programs are commonly referred to as anti-malware programs. And why? They have gone beyond just antivirus. Some of the softwares we are talking about is, you know, virus is just one of the malware. We've just talked about that now. One of. So you can't just say, I have antivirus, I have antivirus, I have antivirus. If what you have can only take care of virus, what happened to worms? What happened to Trojan horse? What happened to spyware? What happened to hardware? What happened to rootkit and all of those kind of stuff? So it has to be holistic this time around, not just about one virus alone, all forms of malware. So anti-malware programs that are coming up right now, and they are becoming very sophisticated. They can detect, take note, and block Trojans, rootkits, ransomware, spyware, keyloggers, and hardware programs. It's not just about virus. They can deal with all forms of malwares. And these anti-malware programs continually look for a known pattern against a database of non-malware signature. See this, known pattern, signature. See, these viruses, worms, or all these ransomware we're talking about, they are just codes now. You need to know they are just codes. They are softwares written by some people. So they have the way those codes were written. So what the malware we do is to look for the patterns. Okay, I know how this one looks. This type of ransom. This is how the codes are written. This is how the code for ransomware, spyware are written. This is how the codes for keylogger are written. That's why till we leave, before we leave this world or till we leave this world, we're always going to have virus or malware, because the bad guys are always coming out with new codes and the good guys are always updating their antivirus or anti-malware database to be able to catch the bad guys. But nowadays, these anti-malware programs have gone beyond just checking malware signature. Even if your code is good, it does not look like something that represents ransomware. They can check it out much more later and say, it's like, this guy, you don't look like a bad guy, but I'm watching you. That's why they have another way. They can also use heuristic malware identification technique. What would that one do? Which can detect specific behavior associated with some types of malware. If you have watched Transformer, I don't know which of the Transformer, because at the point I got tired of that movie, the thing no great hand. They kept on bringing new Transformer, new Transformer. There's a particular one I watched where some of the small aliens will come out, and before they would pretend as if they are maybe like car or whatever. Before you know it, they will transform themselves. So at the point they caught one, they put it inside a glass and they were watching it. The thing had to manifest inside that glass. So similar things are also done to malware. You are coming in, you don't look like it, your signature doesn't look like it, the pattern doesn't look like it. We can allow you to go there, we'll be checking you out. As soon as we say that your behavior starts changing like this, we'll grab you and get rid of you from the network or from that computer. That is called cost heuristic. Now, even these anti-malware are now using AI, artificial intelligence. And that is another game changer. And the funniest thing is, as the anti-malware programs are using AI, even the virus, the malwares too, are using AI. It is Conimandai, Conimamberium. Conimandai, Conimamberium. That is what is going on with malware and anti-malware programs. They are becoming sophisticated as we proceed. Now, we're going to see similar stuff like this. When your system detects Trojan hardware, I say hardware, spyware, or hardware, that's for advertising or any of those stuff. You are the one to determine what you want to do with those things. You can decide to tell your system to quarantine because you want to check out the virus or the malware later. You can decide to say, okay, you should just clean up the system or you should remove it completely and so on and so forth. So most of the time you have stuff like this. You will be the one to decide what to do. And I will show you how you can, when you come to that kind of environment. So that is just a summary of anti-malware programs. We'll see more of this in cybersecurity. I think we'll have almost a chapter or half a chapter that talked about all these malware stuff, malware, anti-malware programs, and so on and so forth, and even give some examples like that. But A plus just kind of talked about the tips gave you tips about some of these stuffs. So we're still talking about preventing malware. So how do we prevent malware? We need to make sure that we do signature file update. I just mentioned that before. If what you have in your database as anti-malware program is to catch a virus that was written in 2000 or 2020, if a new virus is written or a new malware is written in 2024 and you don't have that signature in your database, you cannot catch that virus. That is why you hear us saying we're updating our antivirus. In reality, nowadays, you say updating your anti-malware because most of the so-called antivirus nowadays have gone beyond just antivirus, they're anti-malware. They have to keep on updating those things because they have database. They talk to their the people that program these things to update themselves. They can only catch the latest virus or malware out there if they are up to date. So watch out here. New malware is always being developed. Therefore, anti-malware software must be updated regularly. This process is often enabled by default. And you know the funniest thing? In Nigeria, sometimes we see disable antivirus update. Why? We're saving data. You disable Windows update, you disable antivirus update. You say you are saving data. So why are you using the antivirus on your system in the first place? Why did you install it in the first place? If you know you are going to disable it, because that period that you disable it, you can be vulnerable. The virus can eat you, it can attack you. So when you say you are updating your anti-malware or antivirus, what you are simply doing is you are updating the signature files. To say, okay, there's another virus out there. This is how it looks. This is how it behaves. There's another virus out there. This is how the codes are written. This is how it behaves. There's another virus here, and so on and so forth. Always download the signature file from the manufacturer's website to make sure the update is authentic and not corrupted. Did you see that? So malware can even corrupt the update. So they are telling when you want to update, go to the manufacturer's website and update. Because if you don't do that, if you go and get update from somewhere else, malware can infect that antivirus. I've read about malware that disable the so-called antivirus. Malware. The malware will disable the antivirus. The antivirus no go fit do anything again. That is just funny. So if you want to update, to avoid creating too much traffic at a single website, some manufacturers distribute their signature file for download to multiple sites. And these download sites are called mirrors. So anytime you get to some site, they are going to show you mirrors. The mirror is just like, okay, if you can't get it from this our link, you can go to this other site and also get it. This is just to spread the workload so that their servers doesn't get overwhelmed. Caution: when downloading signature files from a mirror, ensure that the mirror site is a legitimate site. Always link the mirror site from the manufacturer's website. Don't just go and download antivirus or anti-malware from any mirror site or any site out there. Make sure you get it. Let the manufacturer be the one to point you to the mirror sites. And with that, you are covered. I want to show you one example of anti-malware. And I am just tripped with this part of this training. Windows 10, from Windows 10, Microsoft has done a great job for us. Windows 10, Windows 11, they have inbuilt anti-malware programs. And I'm going to play some videos for you, and I'm going to go and show you guys where you need to activate some of these stuff. And I have dropped a lab for you guys on also that has to do with how to activate these things on your system. And you know the truth, if you know what you are doing, you don't really need extra antivirus on your system. With what Microsoft has done for us, just take away admin right from yourself. Don't use it regularly. Make sure all of these things I'm going to show in today's class are activated, and you are good to go. Your Windows is up to date, your anti-malware is up to date, and you are good to go. So let me play with the video for you guys. Eniola and Sandra, I have to do something for you that I did for Kelvin. I enrolled Kelvin on a Cisco Academy platform for the A+ training for him to get access. It's just an afterthought. I thought about it, for him to get access to some of the videos. So that is the same. Oh, I close it. Okay, let me quickly open. That is the same environment I'm going into right now. All the content I've been teaching you guys, all this one on A+, they are from that site. We have the PowerPoint as instructors. We also have the content on the academy platform. That is Cisco's NetAcad, we call it. So on that site, there are some, apart from you reading the content, there are some videos there. So I just thought about it when I was about to start his own training, and I enrolled him there just something to add to make the training better. I thought about it, and I think it's making sense to me. So if you are interested also, I can put you guys on that in the same class with him. So all the content, all the things I've ever taught you, you'll see them on that platform. Look at them here. You can see most of the things I've taught you guys. Introduction to personal computer, PC assembly. As a matter of fact, this PC assembly, there are videos here showing how to assemble computers. There are videos here. Instead of me going to YouTube to go and get video and show you and stuff like that also, for his own class, I made use of the videos that are on this platform for him. So that is just like an improvement to the training, trying to make it better. Okay, so where I am right now, I want to show you guys like 2 videos. And then I'll go and show you how you can get it done yourself before I continue with the slides. So you can see as I'm scrolling, the content are written there. All these things now, if you prefer to read from the website, that is the Cisco website, you can read there, apart from just reading from PowerPoint or from just listening to my video. They even give you some, like, it's like quiz. You run a quiz. They show you some images. Images are there also. We have what you call animation sometimes. You have animation sometimes, you have image. It's just a game changer for my trainer. I see that this is good. So I think I will encourage you guys to also come on board. Let me put you guys there. There are some things you will even see there that are not in the slides. You know, slides is just like a summary of everything. So let me quickly access the video and play it for you people. Then I will talk about it briefly. So this is one of the videos. In this video, it's going to show us how to protect against malware. So
your security settings and become that IT professional.
Okay, I played this before this slide. Watch it.
Hello everyone, we are here to prevent the infection of our system. We want to defend our system from viruses and malware. Now to get started, the best way to go about is I'm going to right click on my start button and I'm going to click on settings here in Windows 10. And when settings opens up, I'm going to scroll down and we're going to find the option for update and security. When I click on Update and Security, we're going to get a lot of options here to help protect our system. The first one I actually see here is Windows Update. And one of the best things you could do for any system, regardless of the operating system you're running, is keep it up to date. A lot of the common viruses, malware, and exploits against your system can be prevented just by keeping your system up to date with the latest service packs and the latest system updates. These help your system run better, but also help secure some of the exploits that have been found about your system. Now, besides Windows Update, I also want to check out Backup. Our antivirus solutions cannot prevent every single infection known across the world. Some of these infections are brand new and called 0 days, and our antivirus systems haven't seen them before, so it can't block them. So if your system does become infected or becomes locked out by ransomware, one of the only things you could do possibly is restore from a backup. So for that ability to occur, you need to have a backup. So make sure you use your backups inside of any type of operating system you're running in order to have something to recover from if your system does become infected. Now, to block that infection from occurring in the first place, I'm going to go over to Windows Security. And Windows Security, of course, is specific here for Windows 10, but if you're using another OS, you'd be able to do some type of security with antivirus and these settings I'm going to focus on next. One of the first things we're going to focus on is I'm going to click on Open Windows Security here, and we're going to take a look at antivirus. Now, when Windows Security opens, we say, all right, antivirus is the most important. So first thing, I'm just going to go ahead and click on our virus and threat protection. Your antivirus is only as good as the last time you updated your antivirus software, as well as the latest definitions that it should have. So you want to make sure that you keep your antivirus system up to date so that it can scan for the latest threats. Now, we have antiviruses that can just run on a one-time only when you click scan. Also, we have antivirus systems that can be constantly scanning every single file and application that gets executed on your machine. There's different ways to go about it. You can use updates to your antivirus, as well as you even update things to help prevent ransomware from ruining your day. Now, besides virus and threat protection of keeping your system safe and secure, another one we want to talk about is firewall. Now, every operating system should have a firewall up and running, at least in software. And with your firewall, you're allowing these connections to come into your machine. Also, you're allowing your machine to go out to specific sites and targets on the web and get responses back. Now, every application you install that uses internet access is probably going to request a hole in your firewall. If you delete a lot of applications and you want to reset your firewall back to factory default, you can go ahead and click on links like this, Restore Firewalls to Default. And that will actually change your firewall settings back to the original default and get rid of all those third-party applications' access to the internet. Now, besides firewall, what we can go to is app and browser control. When we talk about things like malware that can be a Trojan horse, malware that can pretend to be something like a cat screensaver, but when you go to execute it, it ends up being a virus. Well, that could be taken care of here with things like check apps and files. We can actually have our system try to protect us better by not letting us either load unrecognized apps by blocking them, or just at least giving us a warning before the, the app or file executes. So that's an extra way to help you out. So these are some common options you can use in order to help secure your system and prevent malware or infection on your box, which can really ruin your day. Thanks for watching. Play with your security settings and become that IT professional.
I like that. So that is that on that particular video. So I'm going to show you another video, but before we get there, let me see. Okay, let me just take you people to the environment. How can you access that environment? Now, this guy used Windows 10. If you see, he right-clicked the button, the start button, and he went to setting. And then look at the way my own is displayed. Mine is a little bit different from his own because I'm using Windows 11. So if you scroll down now, you may not really see that update and security that you saw on the screen, which is from that screen. So what I did for my own, I went to control panel. Is it control panel? I think system and security. I'm not sure. Let me find out. No, not here. I think it's system. Let me check. I went through this before the class. Okay,
But
yes, it's from
you
here.
have privacy and security there, yeah?
Yes, I can see it. Thank you. So on the left, you can see I have privacy and security. So the first thing I'm going to click is I'm going to click this Windows update. That's number one thing you need to do. Then I'm going to move to privacy and security. And then later on, I'm going to show you backup. Maybe if we are able to get there today, how you can create backup on your system. Because this is kind of major ways for you to secure your system. So the first we have here is if I click updates now, you see that it's telling me that my system is up to date. It was last checked. Look at the time it was last checked, 7:54 p.m. because I've set it to always update. But some people will go and pause the update 1 week, 2 days, 2 weeks, and so on and so forth. It is not advisable. Make sure your system is always up to date. Because if you keep the system up to date, you're protecting yourself from virus or malware, actually. That's the best way to put it. You're protecting yourself from malware. But let's click privacy and security. And when you click privacy and security, you can see Windows security here. If I select this and then click open, then we'll have all those options is discussed. This is what you must see on your system. Everything must be checked and green. Everything here must be checked and green. This has to do with virus, the antivirus per se. This has to do with firewall per se. This has to do with app control. And I'm going to open each and every one of these stuffs, and you're going to see. So one of the labs I gave to you or I sent to you guys is how to navigate in this environment and make sure that you tick or check the right thing for your system. But in the long run, make sure that you have this, that everything ticked, and it must show you that it's green. So for instance, if I click virus and threat protection now, you see under this, I have different options here. I have scan options, allow threat protection history, quick scan, can even give you some summary. Now, if I click scan option now, you can see different scan options that I have. I can do full scan, custom scan. This is always a game changer for me from experience. If a virus is disturbing a system, what we normally do, we just update the system, update the antivirus. Let me show you where to update this antivirus itself. This antivirus is not just Windows update, or I can just go and update the antivirus. Where is this? I hope I can see that now. We just go and run antivirus updates, just update that. And then you now, okay, look at check for update here. Check for update. I hope we can see check for update. So Apart from the Windows being updated, because as a matter, once the Windows is updated, this is also supposed to be updated because this is inbuilt into Windows. But if for any reason you just want to come and update this, then you update this, and then you go back to your scan option. And this is the one I was trying to talk about. From our experience, this has always been a game changer. Microsoft Defender Antivirus offline scan. Why is it a game changer? Most of the so-called malware that you have out there, they get their energy from outside, from the internet. So when you cut them off from the internet, you remove your system from the internet and then scan that thing offline. That virus, the malware is isolated, and most of the time it cleans the system. The thing will clear up the malware in the system most of the time. Let me say 99% of the time. This is from experience. So you can explore any of these any of these scan. You can set your system to always do full scan. You can set custom scan. You can even schedule the time your system should do scan. But scan should be done regularly, not once in when you run into trouble. You should run scan on your system regularly. And that is why it is good to schedule it. That is one option there. So if I click manage settings, you can see all of the things that were activated. Real-time protection, active. What does it do? You see the story there. Locate and stop malware from installing or running on your device. You can turn off this setting for a short time before it turns back on automatically. Cloud delivered protection. You read what it does for you. Automatic sample submission. You read. So all of the options we are talking about that we are actually activating, they will tell you what they will do for you. And if we leave that environment and go to what again? This is all about virus now. Manage ransomware protection. Major way to manage ransom is just for you to have a backup. That's the major way to manage ransomware. Notwithstanding, you can activate some stuff that will protect your system from ransomware. So look at the option there. Protect your files against threats like ransomware and see how to restore files in case of an attack. Then under you have control folder. So what happens here? When we activate this, it protects files, folders, and memory areas on your device from unauthorized changes by unfriendly application. If for any reason I disable this right now, you're going to see that those things that were ticked and were showing green, one of them will show that see there's a problem. In fact, we can just do that and see. If I do this now, see. It didn't show me what I want to see. Maybe I've not really touched what will make that thing to change. Let me go to setting and say, let's say this one now. Did you see? It's X. Sometimes it's not even X. It will just show you like exclamation mark, something like that. I say something is wrong in this place. One of the options has been disabled. Go to this particular place and activate something there. So you need to make sure that everything turns green. What about firewall? I've not talked about firewall. I'm still going to talk about firewall maybe in another class, not today's class. Firewall also needs to be activated. What does firewall do? I will talk about firewall. Then, of course, app and browser controls. This is also good because from here, you can decide about the applications that can run or not run on your system. So there are settings that this particular inbuilt defender, all of these things are they are under what we call Windows Defender, Windows something defender, antivirus, Windows Defender antivirus or anti-malware. So the way it has been built, it can protect your system from unwanted apps, files, and even websites. Just make sure all of these options are set. Now you can decide to go gaga with some of the options and go advanced. Like some, they will give you option to say, okay, block, or you increase the severity. I don't want it at all, and so on and so forth. So you can see when I click this now, some of the options that were activated for me. So you just need to play around all of these options. In that lab that I gave to you, that I sent to you guys, that lab has to do with, you're going to see operation system security or something like that. You're going to see. So in order for you to protect your system, you must have all of this inactivated. Your Windows must be up to date. Applications must be up to date. All of these things, anti-malware, under your anti-malware, antivirus, firewall, apps control, browser control, settings, all of these things must be up and running. So I expect you to explore this environment in detail. On your own, then you follow the lab manual step by steps to take care of it. So the lab manual will do justice to any lab anything you need to practice in this particular in this environment. So that is that and that. Any question before I proceed? So this is the lab. Okay, we have another video, but I need to explain something before we go to that video. What if you are infected with virus or a virus happened to enter your system? Let's watch another video before let me explain this before we watch another video. When a malware protection program detects that a computer is infected, what will it do? It removes or quarantines the threat. However, the computer is mostly likely still at risk. Many anti-malware programs can be set to run on system starts before loading Windows. I'm going to talk about it maybe in the next class, but you're going to see an example in the video also. So removing malware may require that the system be rebooted into safe mode. I'm also going to talk more about safe mode. Safe mode is an environment you take the virus into and the virus cannot really execute or really operate. It's like when you take a fish into the air or you take the eagle into the water. It may be necessary to contact a specialist to ensure that the computer has been completely cleaned. Otherwise, the computer may need to be reformatted, the operating system reinstalled, and your data recovered from the most recent backup. The OS system restore service may include infected file. I have talked about system restore. That's for Sandra and Eniola. You will understand that better, but I will do justice for Kevin on that. So therefore, after a computer has been cleaned of any malware, the system restore file should also be deleted. So we're going to watch another video. Then these are the labs I'm talking about. The lab is operating system security. So after this class, I expect you to go and do this lab. So the lab, part 1, you're going to work on Microsoft Defender antivirus. Part 2, you're going to work on Windows Defender's firewall, and they will give you step-by-step guide. If for any reason you have problem with any of my labs, I have the solution. I can always send you the solution for that particular lab if you have problem. But I don't give my students solutions so that they can try those things on their own. So let's watch another video before we proceed, or before I give room for question. So let's say we have a problem. Virus has come into
Use
the
these
system.
tools, remediate your own. Hello, everyone. We are here to freak out because our system's infected. Is it infected? Well, let me click on a random link in my web browser, and bam! Pop up. Threat found. My Windows Defender antivirus has found a threat. I'm clicking. I want to get details. What did I just do? Well, here's my Windows security area, and it says there's no threat whatsoever. Oh no, there it is. So there's a current threat. So the test file, severe virus. Ooh, severe sounds crazy and bad. So I'm going to click on that little expand button, and I can choose what to do with this threat. I can either delete it, or I can put it in quarantine. I'm going to quarantine this threat because I want it to be analyzed later. I don't just want it removed. I'm going to click on Start Actions. We're going to get rid of this threat. There we go. It is now quarantined. So what I can do is if I want to see the history of what this thing actually did on my machine and what it was trying to do, I can click on Threat History. And in Threat History, I can go down to see the full history of my box. And now here we can see that virus. So I'm going to click on the drop down, and I'm going to click on See Details, because I want to make sure that my system is secure. I need to remediate anything that this has done on my system. And in See Details, it pops up with User Account Control. I'm going to go ahead and click on Yes, because I want to be able to access this. And here we can see the alert level was severe, and this thing has been quarantined, so I don't have to worry about it. Now we got the date and timestamp, and also the details. This program is dangerous and replicates by infecting other files. Ooh, I don't like that. Well, then down below we can see the infected items. So where this file was loaded into, it looks like it came out of my downloads folder because I was using my web browser. So what I'd want to do now to make sure my system is virus-free and remediate any other infections that could be occurring is I want to get out of this details area and I want to go back to my virus and threat protection. I would want to run a full scan. I can either do the quick scan option, or I can use my scan options and pick things like full scan or even a custom scan. After going through and running a full scan on my box and feeling a little better about myself, I'd like to also check out some common areas that viruses will try to, let's just say, put themselves so they can load up at your next boot. I'm going to right-click on my taskbar at the bottom, and when I right-click on that, I'm going to click on Task Manager. When Task Manager opens up, I would like to take a look at the Startup tab. I want to make sure that here in the Startup tab that there's nothing suspicious hanging about. If I don't know if it's suspicious or not, I can right-click on it, and I can do things like either open file location to see the directory that this is residing in, or even better, I can search this entry online. Besides just the Startup tab here, we can go into the Process area, and here we can look through all the processes running in the background on our machine. Again, I can look for anything suspicious that looks out of place. If I don't know what it is, I can always right-click on the item, and again, I can search online or open the file location to see the directory where it's housed. There are some third-party applications as well that you can load up, and you can analyze all of these processes and have them submitted to site that'll tell you if they're malware or not. There's a lot of great options. So to protect our system, we've got a couple ways to go about it, but if your virus is all over the place in your system and you just can't seem to get rid of it, there's other things you can do as well. You can choose how your system boots at the next boot, and you can try to then get rid of the virus. One example is I can right-click on the Start button, and go to Run, and I can type in msconfig. When I use msconfig, I can hit OK, and this loads up right here to my system config box. Here I can choose how my system is going to boot generally, and I can control the individual boot settings when my computer comes online. On top of that, we've already mentioned services that we can enable or disable or look up online. Then, of course, startup that we saw inside of the Task Manager. So there's a lot of options for you to try to utilize in order to help remediate an affected system. But starting from the beginning, keeping your antivirus up to date and the definitions of your antivirus up to date is beautiful and perfect. Also, making sure that you don't have anything just loading at startup that shouldn't be there. And of course, processes running in the background that should not be running in the background. So use these tools, remediate your own infected system, and become that IT professional, regardless of those scary pop-ups you might see.
All right, so that is another video, and I think that's the last video for today. Let me just walk you through. So I've taken you guys through Task Manager, except I see Task Manager, Task Manager, not Task Manager, except Kelvin. Kelvin will be in that this before the week runs out. And Yolan and Sandra, they are used to this environment. I spoke about some of this in the video, where you can see what's consuming your CPU, consuming your memory, and all of that. Then also you need to understand this. There is no how virus will be on your system, or let me use malware will be on your system. The malware too has to run now. It needs CPUs to work. It needs memory to work. All of the resources we have on the system. This particular, any of the malware you have, they also need to use part of our resources. So from this environment, when you go to this Task Manager environment, you can be able to trace down. We're going to go deeper when we start cybersecurity. You can trace down and say, I'm seeing something running here, and I don't know what this is all about. For instance, I'm using Cisco WebEx. Now I can see WebEx, it doesn't look strange. But if for any reason I happen to be in this environment, and I'm seeing the software running, and I have no idea what the software is, or what is doing on my system, the job of that software, I can just right-click and search online. Going online, it will just take me online, and if it is a malware, somewhere around the world it's been identified, you're going to get information that this particular software running, this is what it does, this is how to remove it. You can go to file location where it's installed, or that's like the base where it's seated, and yank it off from that place. So that is how we use Task Manager to analyze malware, to know what is running on our system that is not supposed to be running. And of course, you need to also be aware of your startup button. Startup button are, you have applications that launch themselves once you power your system. If you see any application that launches when you are not aware of that application, you can go to that your startup environment and uninstall that particular application, because virus may want to be loaded. Once your system loads, they want to also load with your system. But if all of this thing has defied the solution, it's still not working, you can take the malware to an environment that it will understand. That is what I say is like taking the fish to the space or into the air, or taking the eagle into the water. So if you type msconfig on your system, msconfig, from this environment, you can come and tell your computer when next you start, boot into safe mode. Look at safe mode option here. If I select this safe mode right now and apply and click OK and restart my system, my computer will boot into an environment where virus does not, where environment virus does not understand. So from that environment, I can decide to scan my system. I can decide to try to yank off that virus from that environment. That is one of the things we use safe boot for. So these are just to reiterate on what the guy spoke about. Exit without restart. I don't want you to restart. I hope that is clear to you guys. Are we good?
Yeah.
Any other market? Is any other see there? Kelvin, are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I wanted to get to slide 20. Will I be able to get there today? I can't get there. Not 20. I want to stop at social engineering. Is NLR still there? Okay. She's there, but I'm not hearing her talking. So that is that about preventing malware. So the lab is with you. Kevin, you can do this lab, not even attempt it. You can do this one. Everybody should do this lab. So the next part I want to talk about briefly is network attacks. Network are also targets, not only computer. Networks are targets. Attacker is looking, and one of the reasons why networks are always target is because they use network most of the time to carry all this across. They want to send email, it's through the network. You want to go to a website, it's through the network. Whatever you are doing, almost everything you are doing is almost through the network. So attacker is looking for network information about a target using Google search, who is, and other tools. Take, for instance, you want to attack a particular website. There is some information you're going to get about the website. You can Google the website. You can do who is, and you can use some other tools. What are you going to get from Google about the website? For instance, their public IP address. You guys know about public IP now. The kind of operating system they are running on their server. Their service provider that registered them, a lot of stuff about that, the websites. Attacker initiates a ping sweep of the discovered target public and network address to determine which IP addresses are active. Sometimes these people have more than one public IP address, so you may want to run what we call a ping sweep. Ping sweep is like doing multiple pings simultaneously. So any IP address that is available will respond back to you. Attackers determine which services are available. Guys, TCP/IP, layer 4 services point to port numbers point to services. So they want to know the services that are available using a software called Mmap. We're going to make use of Mmap during our cyber security class. Superscan is another tool, and there are other tools. So they want to know the services that are running on that particular server based on port numbers that are open. Attacker runs vulnerability scanner to discover the type of application and the OS running on target host using NIPA, Sequina, SPSI, and other tools. Guess what? This particular vulnerability scanner, that is the major thing that the cyber security analysts use every time. Every time. And the most popular out there is called Splunk. Splunk. So if you get a job as a cyber security analyst and your office, your organization is using Splunk, they are just going to train you on how to use Splunk. That's all. Every time, all day, that's what you'll be doing. Oh, no, Splunk is not this probability. It's Nexus, sorry, not Splunk. Nexus. This one is analyst to analyze. So most of them use Nexus. So as a cyber security analyst, you'll be using Splunk to watch what comes in, what goes out, And then also you'll be using Nexus. You run Nexus against all the computers on your network to see which computer is vulnerable. That's just what these guys do. So some concentrate on running vulnerability scanner. Some, they will just be watching what is coming in and what is going out. If a bad thing is coming in, a bad traffic or whatever, the thing raises alarm, and then you check it out and all of that. That's all what they do. Very simple. And we're going to see how, even though I don't have access to Nexus, I'm trying to, that's one of the reasons I'm going through ethical hacking video. I want to get one of these tools that I can use to demonstrate vulnerability scanning in this particular class. Because in this, in the material for cybersecurity, whether for Cisco or ComptiaA Plus, they didn't really do that practical. And I happen not to be satisfied with that. Attacker attempts to discover vulnerable services to exploit using Metasploit. Metasploit are like, it's another tool. Let me just leave it at that we're going to try to use as we proceed. Core Impact and other tools. There are so many tools out there. And you know the funniest is, most of these tools, the bad guys are using them. The good guys can also use these tools. The same tool they are using. Take, for instance, now, I can take you to Google now and see some surveillance camera that were not protected and see people's compound free of charge. Only if you know how to Google, how to do research on Google. Forgot that. I think I will try it when we're done with this class. There is a way you put some words together. You see surveillance camera that are not secure. Open surveillance camera or something like that. I will show you guys. So there are different tools out there, and Google happens to be one of our major tools to do what. So networks are targets. Computers on the networks are targets. The network itself is also a target. All the things we've talked about when we're doing OSI modem, TCP/IP, all of those kind of stuff, they can be attacked. IP can be attacked. What does it call it? All our application layer protocols we've talked about, they can be attacked and so on and so forth. And we're going to come to all of those stuffs when we come to cybersecurity. But talking about TCP, IP attacks, these are under network attacks. Number one is denial of service attack. What is denial of service attack? It will not be yours, it will not be mine. What do I mean by that? There is a web server or a website that we need to access, read information from there. The bad guys will overwhelm that particular website. There are different ways to overwhelm the website. They can send ping. They just keep the website busy unnecessarily, consume the CPU, consume the RAM. So the website does not really have time to answer legitimate requests or legitimate user. That is called denial of service attack. They've kept it busy so that others cannot access that particular website. Case in point, I think it was last year or year before, some surveillance cameras all around the world were hijacked, and they programmed them to send a ping message to some websites all over the world. That is called a distributed DOS anyway, distributed denial of service attack. And you know what happened? Those cameras became what you call zombies. Because once the camera is infected, they install a code on you, they tell you what to do and the time. Multiple cameras all around the world were infected, belonging to the same company, because people didn't change their password. So at that particular time, they were told to launch attack against some of these websites. Bam, those websites came down. So you have distributed, denial of service attack, which is just the one that is just mild, not so sophisticated, maybe for one system or two. But when you talk about the distributed DOS attack, you're talking about from different systems simultaneously coming to attack a particular website. And the essence is to overwhelm that particular target. Now, this is the reason why Google and all these big shots don't use just one machine. They don't use just one server. They have servers in Germany, servers in America, servers in Canada, servers all over the world. So there is no way you're going to bring down Google servers, because they have Google everywhere. So what they did is they mirrored those servers to themselves. So if you go to Google now, it's possible that you're in Google in Germany. Tomorrow you're Google in Canada. Tomorrow you're Google in Australia, Google in France. They have all these servers all around the world. That is how they conquer denial of service attack. And then also we have DNS poisoning. I've talked to you people about DNS, where you know that computers don't really use name, they use IP address. So if the DNS is poisoned, they can infect you and redirect you to a malicious server. You pass through them, they can map for you, they can translate for you your domain name to an IP address, but then you come back with virus or malware. Then you have man in the middle. It's also an attack where somebody will intercept the conversation between two computers. Not that the two computers won't be able to talk, but the person is also getting a copy of the discussion. That is called man in the middle attack. And these are all attacks that are possible out there under network attacks, and they are called TCP/IP attack. Replay is also an attack. It's a type of spoofing attack where the attacker captures an authenticated packet, alters it, and sends it to the original destination. So I'm sending a message to Sandra. Somebody captured it, or alter the message, and then resend it back to me. As far as I'm concerned, Sandra replied me, but that's not a reply from Sandra. That's called a replay attack. Then you have spoofing attack. It is an attack where attacker forges an IP address to gain access to resources. So let's say I have blocked Sandra from accessing my network. All she needs to do is to get any IP address that is legitimate or that is allowed to access the network, and then she will have access to the network and go and copy it or forge it or clone, that's the right word, clone the IP address, and that she can access the network. And then we have another one called SymFlock. We've not talked about sync. I will talk more about sync when we come to cyber security. It is exploiting three-way handshake attack, three-way handshake. So it can be used to also attack the network. This is just a summary of this particular part, but we're going to talk more on some of these things when we go to cyber security. Now, in the video, you heard the guy talk about zero-day attack. What is zero-day attack? Zero-day attack or 0 day is simply the day that a vulnerability was discovered in a particular software by the vendor themselves, not by the bad guys. The day. And the moment it was discovered is called 0 hour. So meaning the bad guys have not discovered it. That's called 0 day. So when you hear 0-day attack, it doesn't really mean there's an attack that day. 0 hour attack. It simply means a vulnerability has been discovered by the vendor themselves. So look at what they said there. Sometimes 0 day, sometimes also referred to as 0-day attack, 0-day threat, or 0-day exploit. This is the day that unknown vulnerability has been discovered by the vendor. The term is a reference to the amount of time that a vendor has had to address the vulnerability. 0 day. That moment, there's nothing they can do. If the bad guy should discover that vulnerability at that point in time, bam, they have their way. So that's called 0 day. And the hour of that day that's what is referred to as 0 hour. The software can be exploited until a patch. What is a patch? It's just a fix to address a vulnerability is made available. So you can see the gap between the 0 day and when the patch will be released. You can see the gap when they discovered the vulnerability, when the first patch was released, second patch, third patch. In between, see the gap from here. Anything can happen in between this place. So anytime you hear 0 day attack or 0 hour attack, it's all about vulnerability discovered by the vendor themselves, not by the bad guys. If the bad guys should have access, that is the thing. Now take note here. How do we protect against network attacks? There is no one single solution to protect against all TCP/IP or 0 day attack. I don't think I can get to where I want to get to. One solution is to use defense in depth. Please take note of this. Defense in depth, which is also known as layered approach to security. Anytime you hear about defense in depth, we're simply talking about multiple level of protection. Say, for instance, in your house, most houses have front doors, back door, just one door. Now you can imagine in your house, the front doors, you have 4 doors. At the back, you have 4. As you enter the first, then you have to unlock the second, then you have to unlock the third, then you have to unlock the fourth before you now enter the main house. That is like a defense in-depth approach or layered approach. It's like onion. As you cut off one layer, you're meeting another layer. As you cut off one layer, you're meeting another layer. And the reason why this is done is, in case this one fails, they pass through this one, I still have another one. They pass through this one, I still have another one, and so on and so forth. That's what we call defense in-depth. Now, this requires a combination of networking devices, take note, and services working together in tandem. They all work together, not in isolation. But we have put in a kind of a consideration that if this one fails, this one takes over. This one fails, this one takes over. Before the last one will fail, help should come for the device. All network devices, including the routers and switches, must be secured to prevent attackers from tampering with the devices. Now, this is where people that have done CCNA will have edge over people that didn't do CCNA. There's some level of security you can activate on the router. There's a level of security you can activate on the switch. If you don't do CCNA, you may not know all of those things because they are not covered in A+. But these form part of your security. Now, as a cybersecurity analyst, you don't really need all of those stuffs because your own is to know that, okay, there's vulnerability, enemy are coming in, enemy are going out, and all those kind of stuff. It's just that it will be a plus if you have an idea about some of those kind of stuff. So, for us to protect against network attacks, we must add in our devices, network devices, and we can also have a layered approach where other devices can be brought in. Let me give you another example. You guys are used to me drawing switch like this. Connect computer to the switch, and then a router, and then you have your ISP, internet connection. I can harden this router, set up some firewall on the router. I can harden this switch, set up some firewall on the switch. Don't let me use that word firewall. Activate some security stuff on the switch. And I can also go to my computers and add in some stuff. If I want to even make this thing further secure, I can bring in a dedicated firewall in between here. That is just doing the job of firewall, only firewall. So before you get into my network, you have to pass through this firewall, then pass through this my router, then have to go to my switch, and then of course to the computer. Now, most of the time, people place preference or what's that word called? They kind of put their attention more on what is coming from the internet. So they want to secure more of what is coming, and they happen to abandon what is coming from within the organization. There's another way we put it. If your layer 2 is compromised, every other thing is compromised. How can your layer 2 be compromised? If I can access your office, plug to any port on your switch, I have joined your network. From there, all the security you put in this place, they are useless. So security is not just supposed to be from outside. I'm talking of the internet right now, which is more of layer 7 stuff because you are coming through the network. Also, we have to protect the organizations, the environment who comes in. We're going to talk about some of this security, physical security, and so on and so forth as we proceed. So many things to do in order to set up layered approach security for the network. I think I should get there. No, I won't be able to do justice. Let's stop here. We'll continue on Thursday. Any question? Is Eniola back now? Eniola, are you back? Okay. Sandra?
Yeah.
Any question?
None for me.
Are you good?
I'm fine.
Okay, Kelvin.
I'm good, Mr.
All right, good. So if there is no question, Eniola, I can't hear you. If you can hear me, you can type. If you can't hear me, if you can hear me, you can type. Or if you can't talk, rather, you can type. But if not, you can just chat me personally later. All right, so if there's no question, we're going to continue this on Thursday. So that will be the end of the class. Kelvin, you can wait for us to have some discussion before you disappear.
All right.
All right. Sandra,
Bye.
see you on